Hello everyone and welcome to the Unit 6 video review. So Unit 6 is the unit that happened the longest ago. We did this in January, but luckily it is also the unit with the least amount of questions on your final exam. So I'm just going to quickly run through what you need to know about the Gunpowder Empires, Ming and Qing China, and the Tokugawa Shogunate. Hopefully this takes 5 minutes or less. So Gunpowder Empires, if you remember, were the Islamic empires that controlled Southwest Asia in the 15th century. So we had the Ottoman Empire in the west, so North Africa, Turkey, Southeast Europe. We had the Safavids in Iran, and then the Mughals in India. All you need to know about these three is that the reason they were able to gain and keep their power for so long was because they were the first empires to use gunpowder on the battlefield in the form of guns and artillery. In China, we need to go a little bit more in depth, so we need to remember the difference between the Ming dynasty's trade policy and the Qing dynasty's trade policy. So the Ming dynasty is first, and they wanted to explore the world and increase their trade. So a good mnemonic for this is Ming is more, right? The M in Ming should remind you that they wanted more trade. And the voyages of Zheng He occurred during this time period, looking for trade partners and looking to show the superiority of China. By contrast, the Qing dynasty did not want more trade. So by the time the Qing dynasty takes over from the Ming in the 1600s, they are looking to make foreign trade as difficult as possible. They want less foreign trade, less foreign influence in China. And so they begin a period of Chinese isolation that ends in the 1800s with the Opium Wars and the spheres of influence that come in to play in Unit 8. So another mnemonic that I like is the Q in Qing kind of looks like the symbol for like forbidding something. And so if you remember that, you'll remember they don't want trade. So Ming is more, Qing is less trade. And that brings us to the Tokugawa Shogunate. And Japan under the Tokugawa Shogunate is experiencing something very similar to China in this time period. So once Tokugawa takes over, Japan begins a period of isolation similar to that of China, mainly because of ethnocentrism that leads them to believe that foreign influence will undermine Japanese culture. And so because of this, they start closing their ports to foreign trade. And because of this economic policy, Japanese trade turns inward, and Japanese people begin to trade with other parts of Japan, which leads to an increase in that domestic trade and an emphasis on agriculture by the decision makers in Japan. All of the social implications of this and everything like that we covered in Unit 6, you do not need to know for the final. All you need to know is the economic policy. So other than those three things, the fact that gunpowder empires controlled their empires using guns, it's in the name, that Ming China wanted more trade and Qing China wanted less trade, and the Tokugawa Shogunate also introduced a period of isolation. You need to know nothing else about Unit 6. So once you have this down, make sure you turn your focus especially to Units 7 and Units 8, because those are the ones with the most questions on the final. And then other than that, you should be just fine for Unit 6.